All right, hello everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today's video I have a Genshin Impact version 4 and version 4.0 game plan. Now I know what you're thinking. What's the difference between a version 4 game plan and a version 4.0 game? Well, the answer to that is kind of if you saw my 3.0 game plan and 3 game plan um, back before I started recording YouTube videos. Um, my version 4 game plan encompasses all of the patches that we're going to get in Genshin Impact from 4.0 all the way until we get to 5.0. Whereas my 4.0 game plan will be very specific to this next patch that we're getting, which I assume is going to be 6. So, with that in mind, I'm going to show you my characters so I can give you an idea of what I did in version 3. Version 3, one of the things I noticed was I had a number of characters I had leveled up to 90. I had a lot of characters that I had leveled up to 70 or 50 and then decided to go build somebody else who I thought was better. And what ended up happening, and I from what I've seen, this is a pretty common problem, is I ended up with some characters that were level 90 that I was willing to bring into tough battles and the Spiral Abyss. Then I had a bunch of 70s and 50s that really couldn't do much with. And I also had characters that were leveled up, but I took their artifacts away, gave them some. So in 3.0, as you can see, and I can scroll down to the end of the list, and you can once you see the end of the list, you can see that all of my characters are now either level 90 or level 20. And the only exception is Eula, who is the character I'm building right now. So this is what I want my character development to look like. I want to have all of the characters done, one character in progress, and everyone else just waiting to start. And if you're wondering why I always level my characters initially to level 20, that's because when you level a character to 20, you give them their first ascension, which is usually super easy. You get a standard witch, and I think that's worth doing. It doesn't take a lot of character experience in terms of the books to do that, and you get a free wish just for having that initial character. And a lot of what I did in version 3 carries on to the other things as well. Carries on to the weapons and the artifact sets for the most part. And so now that I'm all caught up, I wanted to see where I wanted to take my account from, because we've got a lot of time before we get to the end of this story. This story, by all rights, should probably be going all the way through 2026. If they stretch things, it could go even longer. But I would be shocked if it ends in 2025 or any time sooner than that. So one of the things I want to look at kind of revolves around the Traveler, who I consider my main character, mostly because she is the main. So in version 3, I gave her a 5-star weapon. I believe that weapon. It was whenever Albedo's last banner was up. And I gave her an artifact set. This artifact set was kind of meant to be flexible, since she controls multiple elements. So it is a 2-piece gladiator and a 2-piece gilded. She gets an 18% attack bonus from the gladiator 2-piece, and she gets a elemental mastery boost of 80 from Gilded Dreams. And the off piece, as you can see it kind of rotating around right now, is the Shimenawa Reminiscence Dendro Damage Goblet. And so the idea is, if I want to switch her to Animo, all I have to do is just replace that one piece, that one goblet, with a Animo Damage Goblet that has roughly the same parameter. So that way she is roughly the same no matter what element I want her in. So the same thing if I want to switch her to Geo Damage. If I want to switch her to Geo form, I get Geo Damage Cup out. If I want to switch her to Electro form, which happens, then I switch to the Electro Damage. And as you might imagine, I could just keep this going. When I go to Fontaine and she starts getting her powers in Hydro, which we would imagine that she will, all I have to do is give her a Hydro Damage Cup, and I'm in business. Now the good thing about this is it's cheap to make, easy to maintain. The downside to this is that none of these builds are going to be her best build in that particular element. For her to have her best build in Animo, for instance, she would need the 4-piece Viridescent Venerer set, and the build would be similar to the same build that you would give someone like Jean or Hector for me. I'll leave that in there because I can't remember, and I always forget who he is. But anyway, that is as opposed to giving her a high EM build, which is something you'd give to someone like Sucrose or Venti or Kazuha. So that is what I would like to do as far as her artifact. Kind of move on from having just a general artifact set that I'm just switching out that one goblet to where I'm switching out all 5 artifacts. I can give her whatever makes the most sense for that particular element. And that will probably take a while, particularly because I'm very picky with what I give to Traveler as far as weapons, artifacts. But everything else is pretty much under control. She has all of her constellation stars that she could have had up through version 3. She has, and we'll get to, I know people are going to be floored when they hear this. She is triple crowned in all 4 of the elements so far. And if you're wondering, even without knowing what's coming up, I can tell you this. I have down here somewhere. There it is. 9 crowns of insight. Guess who's getting 3 of those? You get the idea. So that is one of the things I wanted to work on with my builds for 4.0. Just kind of, but then also looking at some of the other characters that I use frequently in the Spiral Abyss and make sure that their artifact builds are as tight as I can get to them. Jin Yan, I use her quite frequently in Spiral Abyss. Same thing with Fischl. Same thing with Barbara, although her artifact set's pretty easy. Kazuha's set, I think, probably won't need a lot of. Shenha's artifact set's pretty. I'd be surprised if I can get Raiden Shogun's artifact set much better than it is right now, and so forth and so forth. So now wasn't mentioned during the preview, but it is possible that some of the artifact sets that were available in Inazuma could be going to the strongbox, and making it a little bit easier for us to get. And one of them, of course, is the well-feared Emblem of Severed Fate, but also Pale Flame, Tenacity with Nolith, and the like. I can't say for sure that I know that they're going into the strong box because it wasn't part of the preview, and I don't pay attention to anything that's not part of the preview. So, but knowing that it could happen, keeping my eyes open. So, so building up the traveler's element-specific artifact sets, obviously, obviously maxing out Hydro once it's available, and basically just going for all the other artifact sets. That's kind of what for the basically just keeping up with things. And that's pretty much what I'm going for. So hopefully all that made sense. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. All right, so let's get to my Kanban board. See the last version of 2.8 of 3.8 right there on the right, and we can see what I'm planning to do for 4.0. So this is the actual 4.0 gameplay here. So right now, I'm looking to build Eula, sure. Eula I pulled in one of the banners in 3.8. I was looking to see if I could add a physical damage specialist, a 5-star physical damage specialist, and I did. So that's good. And so Eula, I think it's a pretty easy build. You had seen my uh, uh, test run for her banner. You can see I don't have all the dandelion seeds I need, but I don't really need that many. So just kind of rolling around Mondstadt with Sayu, or maybe combined with Kazuha, should be able to get those dandelion seeds long before I actually need them. Um, and the boss is the cryohypostasis, which basically only drops Jade, which is what I need as far as the gem. So that is probably, so I don't think that would be terribly hard. If I need to reassign any, it wouldn't take that many. And since I knew that Eula was coming up, I did not reassign any of the Jade when I was building Yao. And everything else she needs are just these asks that all the hilly trolls have. I can personally guarantee you that I have all of these in spades. So I'm not worried about that. Overall, I think Eula is going to be a fairly easy build. And I even know for a fact that I have enough books to level her all the way up to where I want to go. Um, Now, you can see that I have a limit of 2 for my character level. So, who's going to be the second one? Well, as you can see in 3.8, I didn't have a second. I could have put Eula in with Yao Yao, but I chose to just have Yao Yao built by herself so I could focus hard on the artifact. And that worked pretty well. So I might do that here as well. The only one that might get added as a second character might be Lynette. And for those who might remember, Lynette is a 4-star character that'll be on the first uh, phase of the banners, and we will also get her for free if you're above a certain adventure rank. Now I'm rank 60, so that's pretty much a given. But I believe the cutoff for it is 25, but don't quote me on it. If it turns out that we absolutely need Lynette for something of value in terms of exploration, then she might have to go on this list along with. Aside from that, I know absolutely nothing about Lynette. She is an Animo character and she is a sword user. And that's about it. But everyone else who's in the backlog is going to stay there, at least for now. So we can see the weapons next. And even though I don't have a specific need for it right now, I figure the time has come to finally get to the end of the line done. Now, the end of the line is the weapon that you get from fishing in Sumeru. I bought this weapon, or not, didn't buy it. I traded for this weapon with lots and lots of fish I found that took hours and hours to do, only to never get a archer built that really requires it. So I would like to have it built just so it's available. Now, as far as Eula goes, she is going to use the Wolf's Gravestone, which is already done. You can see that in the done column on the right. Um, so, yeah, I don't know. End of the line, it just seems like a good time to get it done. Now, if Lynette gets built, whether or not I need to build a sword is going to be based on her how her build needs to go. Best case scenario, she can use an EM sword, which I have multiple of those just sitting at level 90, just waiting to be assigned. So that's my best case scenario. You need something that's not an EM sword. We'll have to figure that out. So, but for now, I'm just going for just end of the line. If I need a second one for Lynette, I give myself a limit of 3 per version. So there's certainly room for more. Now we go to the talents, and this is where things get look kind of crazy. You can see a lot of hydrolumine right here. Hydrolumine all to 6, hydrolumine to 7, hydrolumine 8, all the way through to the crowns. So since I've kind of thrown in my thrown in with building her all the way to the sky, I will certainly want to give her as many of her skills as I can. Now, will I be able to do that in 4.0? Depends. I'm assuming for the time being that hydrolumine will need books from a domain that we have not seen yet, and also Lumine has a tendency to require all of the books. So whatever book she needs for 7 will probably be different than the book she needs for 8, and then 9 will be the other one, and then 10 is usually the same as 7. And then, of course, all the 6, instead of having it just be 1, it'll probably be a mixture of all 3. So it's gonna be a little crazy, but and of course everything is blocked because, well, she doesn't have hydro powers at the moment. Once she touches a statue of the 7, I believe that will unlock her hydro powers, and then all of this is going to be so check in with me when I stream live on Thursday. See my live reaction to what she's going to need for it. As for Eula, I have her all the 6 skill card right here. And of course, this is blocked until she can reach level 70. Because until she gets to level 70, she cannot go all the way up to 6 o'clock. Now, good thing about this task is that we had a nice handy dandy little double talent books last week. And so what I did was every day that resistance was available, Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday, I went all in on the doubling of the resistance. And guess what? I have enough resistance books, plus I have enough Mora to take this all the way to 6. All I need to do is get her to level 70 first, and then this is it. So if you look at my limits for talent levels, two cards going all the way to 6, then 6 going to either 7 or 8, and then 6 going to 9 or 10. All of this covers that. So if I get everything that's done here, even though I have to unblock it first, that's what I want to get done for 4.0. Now, for some reason, we can't get Lumine's later skills done. I can pull in either Diluc's level 9 talents or Nahida's level 9 talents or Xingqiu's level 9 talents, whichever makes sense to balance everything in. But I do want to make sure that I'm getting all of the talents done that I need for 4.0. So if I can't get all of Lumine's done, I have other options. So now we get to the artifact. This is where things get good. So I'm starting off with working on Eula's artifacts. If you remember from my test run, I suggested that Eula's best artifact set is probably Pale Flame, but that requires that her use of her elemental skill can hit the requisite number of enemies to give her the full damage. The only other character I have right now that is using the 4-piece Pale Flame is Fischl. And with Fischl, it's automatic. Oz will always hit when he summons. So she will get that full attack boost. That really makes her very formidable. So since I'm going to be grinding the Pale Flame, I also have some temporary tasks open to review previously made Pale Flame sets and Tenacity of the Millilith, since that's in the same domain. Now I don't have anything in the on hold column. That's by design, because if Pale Flame is one of the artifact sets that's likely to move to the strong box. In fact, if anything moves to a strong box, it's probably going to be these, because they're kind of like right on the Mondstadt Sumeru border. They're probably the last ones that got. They're probably the kind of on the dividing line of not going into the strong box at the end of 2.8. So if Pale Flame is going into the strong box, then I will leave the on hold column blank for now, because what I will do is I'll simply grind the Pale Flame Tenacity of Millilith, whose name I've forgotten again, and then anything that I don't choose not to keep will just simply get recycled into more Pale Flame. So Eula has an artifact sets done comfortably. And Eula's artifact set's probably going to be a very, very standard DPS build. She gets crit damage as she ascends, so the circlet would most likely be a crit rate circlet. And because I want to build her as a physical damage specialist, I will be using a physical damage goblet, either one that I already have or one that I get from doing the Pale Flame Tenacity. Anyway, that's kind of everything. I haven't populated my little review tabs yet, but I will do that a little bit. But yeah, that is mostly it. This went on a little bit longer than I thought, but probably worth being a little bit more than. But yeah, time to go. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, consider subscribing to this channel, and consider following me on Twitch. And leave a comment below if you'd like, and I will see you in the next video, which will be my first YouTube video in 4.0. See you then.